Good afternoon. Thank you, Nathan. How many people are excited about all the new things we have this year? All right. How many people can't wait to use that new app we've got and everything? Upload your images. All right. How many are excited about increased security? All right. All right. It's the necessary evil these days, but we are here to help protect you. And I'm here to talk about the best practices for a successful tax season. We're going to talk a little hardware, we're going to talk a little security, we're going to talk a little MFA again, because we think it's that important. Okay? I've got good news and bad news. The good news is I promised Richard we'd get to the cocktail party on time. So, all right, yeah, how many people are ready for the cocktail party right now? All right. The bad news is that I'm not going to be able to take the 1,200 questions you usually have for me while I'm up here. But I am teaching a breakout class tomorrow that will cover much of this, and we can go over it in much more detail tomorrow if you like. So I am getting a little feedback from this mic too, if somebody can. All right, we're going to talk about investing in equipment. We're going to talk about connection speed. We're going to talk about security. We're going to talk about multi-factor authentication. How many people have heard of multi-factor authentication? Oh, come on, you guys were sleeping through Nathan's? He just talked about it. Come on, we're going to talk about it again. Everybody's hand should be up there. We're going to talk about getting set up early. We're going to talk about saving some money and calling us first. Investing in equipment. I can't stress this enough, folks. This might be the single most important thing you do to have a successful tax season, and it's invest in equipment. You want current hardware, current computers, current printers. These are the lifeline of your business. There's only, one of my colleagues likes to say, and I've stolen this for years, but there's only two things in your office that can make you money in a tax office. One is a computer. Anybody know what the other one is? Huh? A pencil. The other one's the pencil, all right? How many people remember the days of pencil and carbon paper? All right. So your computer can easily make or break your season, all right? Even the best software in the world, and we all know which one that is, right? All right. It's no good if the computer won't keep up with us, all right? Nathan and his team work hard every year to put more and more in the software, make it better and better, but that comes as a cost. Every year the software gets more complex, the software gets a little larger, the software it needs more power, needs more horsepower to run. So investing in computers is imperative. Investing in your hardware is a key. All right? Computers are expensive, we understand that, but so are customers walking out the door. Right? A couple things that'll help you is one, create a plan. All right? Put your hardware on a 3 to 4 year replacement rotation, all right? Back in the 80s, early 90s, you could buy a computer and it would last you 10 years. That's not the case anymore, all right? 3 to 4 years, unless you're buying the latest, greatest, absolute top-of-the-line hardware out there, computers are going to last you 3, maybe 4 years if you're lucky. If you have one that's older than 3 or 4 years, start replacing it this year. If you start and develop a plan and replace 25% or a third of your hardware every year, you can spread the expense out over the cost of 3 or 4 years. You'll always have up-to-date hardware, and you'll never have to incur that huge expense of replacing it all at the same time. Right? How many people are on a plan like that right now? All right, that's some, not enough, but next to hardware, we're going to talk about internet connection speed. I've seen people who've had brand new, shiny race car computers, and they're on close to dial-up. Anybody try and use the Wi-Fi here in the hotel today? All right. It's pretty slow today, isn't it? It's pretty slow. That's because I think Richard's watching videos all day, so he's using up all the bandwidth. But doesn't matter how fast your computer is, how powerful it is, if your internet isn't going to keep up. All right? Up-to-date hardware is the first step, but broadband access is a close second. All right? We recommend a minimum of 10 Mbits. That's a minimum, okay? Most of you, if you're getting DSL or you're getting cable through your cable company, will get even much more than this. I have about 100 Mbits at my house, and it's not prohibitive these days from my cable company. The FCC now considers true broadband to be a minimum of 25 Mbits, okay? And again, like we talk about hardware, purchase as much broadband speed as you can afford, okay? Technology's advancing faster than ever, and your plan needs to keep up. Again, what used to be a 5 to 10 year plan for hardware is now a 3 to 4 year plan. And believe me when I say it, it makes all the difference in the world. Let's talk about computer security a little bit. And what can we do to help protect our customers' data? You've heard that several times from multiple people today. Security, security, security. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, it's not something that we're going to talk about less moving forward. If anything, it's something we're going to talk about more. We've instituted MFA. We've instituted mandatory prepare security to help you protect your data, your customers' data, your businesses. I mean, this is our livelihoods. I do that once a year. I turn the forward buttons right next to the power button. So we need to make sure we have antivirus software on every computer. I think that's pretty standard now. If you're using a Windows-based, Microsoft Windows 10-based system, antivirus software comes with the computer. It doesn't even need to be, you don't even need to buy it. Should be updated every day. If you don't have your antivirus software scheduled to update every day, do it today, or do it the first thing when you get home. It's imperative. The hackers, they don't take days off. The guy sitting, the IRS agent told us about the guy sitting in his mother's basement in Bulgaria in his footy pajamas, right? He's not taking a day off. He's creating new ways to hack every day. So the antivirus software companies have to constantly update their definitions to keep up to date. So you need to have that. Plus, place a password on your computer. I don't know how many, I can't tell you how many times we talk to people that don't have this. At Taxslayer, at our corporate office, if you get up from your desk and you don't lock that computer, you can be fired on the spot. We take it that seriously, and you should too. Your employees should be trained not to leave their computers without unlocking them. Lock it every time you step away. We'll help you with prepare security. All right? Everybody understands, starting last year, we made it mandatory. Right? Assigns different credentials for each employee, and it determines which you can determine as a business owner which employee has access to which areas of the program. I want to talk a minute about ransomware. It's a form of malware in which the victim's computer is locked, typically by encryption, and it's held for ransom. Payments demanded before the encryption key is given. This is something that we've seen an increase of tremendously in the last couple years. Okay? So anybody haven't heard of ransomware before? All right. You should all be aware of this. Without the encryption key, if you're a victim of ransomware, that's it. It's gone forever, unless you're backing up your software. Unless you have a backup, you have two choices. You can pay the ransom, or you can lose everything. Okay? And it's that simple. They will encrypt every file on your computer, and that's it. You have no access to it without paying the ransom and getting the encryption key from them. Quite often, they'll double the ransom if you miss the deadline. I know of one case several years ago of a hospital who was infected with ransomware and paid, I don't remember the exact figure, but it was somewhere plus or minus $50,000 to get the encryption key. Otherwise, all of their medical records that were encrypted would be lost to them. So this is a real threat. And the larger you become and the larger Taxslayer becomes, the bigger presence we have in the world, the more we're going to be targeted for things such as this. All right? The other problem is paying a ransom doesn't guarantee that they'll provide the key. We're not dealing with reputable people to start here, so paying the ransom doesn't ensure you're going to get it back. The other problem is if you pay a ransom, the likelihood that they'll target you again is going to increase, right? They know they've got they know they've got a fish on the hook. They're going to come back for more. The good news is, all you have to do is back up your data, and you're protected. Okay? If your data is backed up and you're backing up religiously, you get hit, you're the victim of ransomware, you call us and we'll make you whole again. And we'll help you be made whole again because you've been backing up your software. Yeah, Pub 4557 says that as an ERO, you are responsible for safeguarding your data. Frequent backups of Taxslayer are the way to do this. We've made the process simple. How many people use our backup utility that we put in the software? All right, we've spent years, not enough of you too. Everybody needs to use this. We've been begging people for years, backup, backup, backup. So we went as far a few years ago to add a backup utility inside the software. It is the simplest thing, folks, to use. Please, if you're not using it, please start. It creates a complete disaster recovery backup of Taxslayer Pro. It backs up everything. Yes, sir.
And that's if I have a tax return that's got an encryption key that I put a password on it. It doesn't seem to back up that return.
All right. Well, I'd be happy to talk to you about that this afternoon, but that should back up that return as well.
Because I try to restore it and it's not on another computer. It doesn't show up. Okay. So I'll talk to you about it.
We'll fix that.
Okay.
All right. Right in the utilities menu, we have the program backup utility. And again, it backs up everything. That is Taxslayer. Everything that is Taxslayer. All right, Nathan touched on this earlier. It's that important. We want to talk about it a little bit again. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA. It's a security system. It requires more than one method of authentication from independent categories of credentials to verify a user's identity. Simply put, if you're accessing critical data, we want to verify that you are who you say you are. And like Nathan said earlier, we're going to use text messages and emails to verify who you are. All right? And again, if you haven't logged into my account recently, the next time you do, you'll see this screen. And I won't go through the whole thing again. Nathan covered it pretty thoroughly. But we're going to ask you to put cell phone and email in. And the reason we ask you to enter this, even though it's probably already in your My Account, is we want to make sure we're getting solid, up-to-date credentials. Because anytime you go to a new computer, if you use a different web browser, if you use a different IP address, and every so many days, you're going to require to authenticate yourself. And if you have the correct cell phone or email in there, it's a snap. It takes literally 10 seconds to do. Once updated, you'll periodically be required to MFA or authenticate yourself. And again, that's going to either be by email or by text message. I would encourage you to use text message if possible, because text messages are, well, simply put, they're faster. Okay, depending on which email, what your email address is, what server you're using. We all know, I've sent you an email, well, I didn't get it yet, or I didn't. So text messages are generally quicker. And again, Nathan showed us this screen as well, and you're going to either choose email or text, enter the verification code when you get it, and you're in. All right, every year we ask, the best advice is to begin early. Before the start of the year. Like Nathan said, we're going to be releasing the software relatively soon. Okay? I did it again. All right, once we release software, install it, test your network, test your printers. Many of us don't use these very often during the off season, so make sure they're all working. Make sure your network is communicating with properly. Make sure your printers are up and running. If you're upgrading hardware, let us help you. Having everything done before the 1st will save you time if you run into any problems. It's about the last thing I want to say is call us. When you need help, call us. If you have questions about setting up a new network, if you have questions about what hardware to buy, what printer should I buy, I'm buying a new computer, do I need a new printer? Call us. We'll help you. We're here to help. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the backup
Okay.
utility to Taxslayer Pro. How long do Taxslayer Pro keep that backed up once we backed it up?
Well, you're going to back it up
Yes.
to an external media,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
To a flash drive, to an
Right.
external hard drive. So how long, the question is, how long are you going to keep it?
Okay. And how long, once it backs up, do you all back up our software? What I'm saying.
Okay, okay, I think you're talking about the fact that we keep your e-filed tax returns
Right.
on our servers.
Right.
We keep current year plus 3 prior.
Okay.
But that's not everything.
Okay.
Okay, that is only what you've e-filed. It doesn't include amended returns, it doesn't include paper returns, it doesn't include incomplete returns. When you back up using the utility in the software, you're going to back up to something tangible that you can take home. And I would recommend flash drive. These things, nowadays you can get a flash drive that'll hold 10 to 15 years of Taxslayer, depending on the kind of volume your office does, for $20 or $30, and you can take this home. Our techs will tell you buy 5, 1 for each day of the week, because they're hardware. These flash drives, these external hard drives, they're technology. They fail, right? We've all had hard drives fail. Your flash drive could fail as well, so don't rely on one. Rely on, they're so cheap these days, buy 1 for every day of the week. Have a Monday flash drive, a Tuesday flash drive, a Wednesday flash drive, all right? And take them off-site. Natural disasters will destroy every hard drive in your office, quite possibly. Right, Angie? Angie knows. Angie's from Puerto Rico. She went through the hurricanes. All right, so,
Hi, Glenn.
hey,
I have a problem with one thing with the program in the last 15 years I've been using you, 14, excuse me. I would back up every return to a separate path as I enter or exited.
right.
I was told to stop doing that because it would potential of corruption. Is that a problem or not? I don't.
Well, okay, the problem with that, and what we're talking about now is the secondary backup in the path menu of the software. And that will create a second copy of every return as you do it. Yes, it's an excellent idea. It's a great thing to do. One, again, it doesn't give you everything. If you use the backup utility, you get the acknowledgments, you get the reports, you get everything. You get the PDFs you've created if you're a premium user. You get everything. So the backup utility run daily is the best case scenario. The problem I think they were probably trying to get across to you about the secondary backup path is if you are backing up to the flash drive and you pull the flash drive out, now the software is looking to back up the software to something that doesn't exist anymore. And that's where you can run into problems. If you've got something that's going to be connected to the computer constantly, then using that secondary backup path is not going to be a problem.
What I was told was it could cause corruption.
If that secondary path is removed from the computer. No, that's not the case.
The only time he's talking about is it causes problems is in the business section of it. If that secondary backup is removed, you can't get it out of the software without shutting it down. That's
Correct.
the corruption
If you're going
he's
to
talking
use
about.
the secondary backup path, and again, this is probably something we should talk about after. Like I said, I don't want to monopolize the time here with that, and I'd be happy to sit down and talk about it later. But the only time that secondary backup path should cause you a problem is if it's removed from the computer. Okay? But the best case scenario, again, is to use the backup utility. Again, call us first. Too many network techs have said it. We've seen networks set up incorrectly because they haven't consulted with Taxslayer. Our Tier 2 techs, and we have one here today. Chuck, is Chuck in the room right now? Chuck's right in the back. He's one of our Tier 2 techs. He'd be happy to answer any and all your questions. We have an Ask the Tech table set up with the other vendors. If you have questions about this, if you need recommendations on hardware, Chuck and the rest of our technical staff would be happy to talk to you about it. We would prefer you to call us first. We know what's best for Taxslayer. Once your infrastructure is set, we'll ensure Taxslayer is working with your network in harmony. Again, I can't say this enough. Call us first. That's about all I had today. Thank you, folks.